Jeff, I want to welcome you to our conversation today. For those that haven't met me, my name is Ken Edmonds, and on my channel, I share information to help those that travel with challenges travel better and information to help their friends enjoy their trips as well. So today I have with me an amazing guest. I've got Jeff Caesar, and he's with the Rocky Mountaineer. I have trouble getting that word out. Rocky Mountaineer Tour company, and they provide railway tours. And I am a huge rail fan, Jeff. So tell us a little bit about Rocky Mountaineer, where you go, and what are some of the things that are interesting you guys can help people see.
More than happy to, Ken. Thank you again for allowing me to educate your clients on our company and what we offer. Rocky Mountaineer is a train and tour operator, been operating for 31 years. 30 of those years, by the way, were privately owned, family operated, started in 1990. 30 of those years, we've been based in the Canadian Rockies, taking you from Vancouver over to places like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, breathtaking, beautiful places in the Canadian Rockies right above our country. And on our 31st year, 2021, we just announced a brand new route starting to operate in our own country, the United States, going from Denver, Colorado, over into Moab, the heart of Utah, with all the amazing national parks. Within minutes of Arches National Park, you got Bryce, you have Zion, you have the Canyonlands National Park, the Grand Canyon. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Rocky Mountaineer is a luxury, fine dining, seamless travel experience where you'll never sleep on board. You stay in hotels every night, because if you're sleeping, you're missing the sights, the scenery, the wildlife, the wilderness, and we handle everything for your clients: the hotels, transfers, tours, majority of the meals, everything except airfare. But everyone who's listening, know that you're working in such great hands with Ken here. Not only is he a preferred partner of Rocky Mountaineer, he's got such great expertise, knowledge, and background on our trains and trips. Not only does he have the knowledge to share and the expertise, he's got great tools and resources that he can easily share with you, from videos, 1 to 2 minute videos on our train routes, 1 to 2 minute videos on the service levels, which I know we're going to get to throughout this little presentation for you all. So please be sure to reach out to Ken, as he is a great source of everything you need to help truly put together a trip of a lifetime.
Thanks for that shameless plug.
No, it's true though.
I started to look around to see who you were talking about. But Jeff, so I want to start with your newest route, because like I said, I had looked at it a little bit and knew a little bit about the ones out of the Pacific Northwest, out of Vancouver, but I'm interested. So let's start with the new route. So tell me about that journey. What is that journey like?
More than happy to. So I know maybe some people are thinking, you expanded during COVID. Isn't that kind of a little bit risky? Honestly, we've been trying to do this expansion. It was supposed to be announced for 2022. Given the crazy times that we're in, we really believe that the demand for domestic travel was at its utmost strongest at this time. So we moved it up a year. We've been building brand new train cars, brand new Silverleaf cars that we're going to be using on this brand new route. So the new cars coming down are not going to affect the inventory up in the Canadian Rockies, which is really ideal. This brand new route starts mid-August 2021 and goes now until mid-November. We've just actually extended. We were supposed to initially just do 40 departures going till mid-October. But given the demand that we have been seeing over the past 5 months, just to be completely transparent and candid with everyone listening, over 9 million in new booking sales just in 5 months on this new route. So there's a lot of people who don't want to wait till 2022. They want to do something unique, something different, something close to home, something where a company is going to follow strict guidelines, whatever the CDC and WHO recommend. So it makes great sense. This brand new route is taking you on our west coast into the beautiful national parks that Utah has to offer that I mentioned just a few minutes ago. It's both eastbound or westbound. If you were going westbound, starting in Denver, Colorado, overnighting for 1 night in Glenwood Springs, and then heading over to Moab Afterwards, doing some incredible sightseeing and touring, making it like icing on the cake, the best for last. Similar to how we operate up in Canada, taking you from Vancouver to the best that the Canadian Rockies have to offer. Now, if you want to go eastbound, everyone always says they need a vacation from a vacation because they're so tired and worn out. Think about going eastbound then. You could start in Salt Lake City, Utah, or Las Vegas, Nevada. We once again handle everything for you, the transfers, the tours, the hotels. As you head eastbound, you're going to be stopping in multiple places, sightseeing along the way. We have multiple different itineraries and different tours to take advantage of. So maybe after 4 to 5 days of very active sightseeing, busy days, you then are able to rest, get pampered in luxury and fine dining on our incredible train for 2 or 3 days, heading eastbound over to Denver. That allows your body to recoup and to just refresh itself. Everyone, once again, always says they need to slow time down after vacation. And so that's a great idea of going eastbound. West or east, it doesn't matter. The great news is that Rocky Mountaineer has just expanded after 30 years, and we are seeing such an amazing growth in our company.
Okay. Like you said, I'm a rail fan, so I have questions I've got to ask. And first of all, for anybody that's never made a trip by rail through the Rocky Mountains, I have been fortunate. I've made a couple of round trips out of Albuquerque up to Chicago through the Rockies. I said, cruising, then train are the two ways I like to travel. I hate flying. And it's not that I'm afraid to fly. It's just the experience is so different. And for people that have never traveled by rail, you don't get the difference in the ambiance. Because my impression of and my feeling when I fly is that it's like, okay, we got to hurry up and get on, get our seat, and then we're going to hurry up and get off. Whereas on the train, it's like, okay, yeah, well, sometime today I'm going to get on the train. And it's just a different, slower way of life, very similar to cruising in that sense. So let's start with, tell me about the onboard experience, both for passengers that are fully able and for those that face challenges.
Of course, happy to. So first, just to give a little bit of a clarification, a difference between us and other trains out there you may be more familiar with, such as Amtrak or Via Rail. Those trains are more commuter trains, taking you from point A to point B, trying to get there as fast as possible in most cases. For us, remember, we never sleep on board. With those other trains, usually you sleep on board on some of those longer journeys. We do share our new tracks from Denver to Moab or vice versa, a part of the way with Amtrak. There's no other freight trains operating on these train tracks at all. We're going to see no delays whatsoever. With us, never sleep on board. Our average train speed is only 30 miles an hour, and we slow down to less than 5 miles an hour for all the canyons, the vistas, the wildlife, the wilderness along the whole entire way.
Wow.
We have incredible chefs on board, cooking made-to-order food literally a few feet away from where you're sitting. On our Silverleaf cars, which we're talking more in reference to our new route, these are plated and brought to your seat. You're looking at several appetizer options, several entree options, and a dessert option that changes daily for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, depending your itinerary. We have 3 to 4 hosts or hostesses on board who handle all the history, the cultural facts, the storytelling and jokes, keeping you entertained, aware, and up to date of what's coming up ahead. On every single train car, we have an outdoor veranda space, allowing you to go outside anytime you like, taking pictures and video, getting a breath of fresh air, soaking in that scenery as it passes by. It's a very unique type of concept. Our own train cars, these are not like anything that you ever experienced if you haven't been on Rocky Mountaineer before. People sometimes say, oh, it's just like the Alaska Railroad. Not at all. It's different seats, different, I would say, commentary. Alcohol is completely included, bundled into the package. We try to use more local wineries. We're looking at working with some local breweries out in the West, which is going to be quite exciting because I like beer in a very social way. Not that was funny. But no, it's a very unique type of concept and experience, especially with the speed that we're going at, which makes us really stand out. And I think it makes us quite unique and different in this part of the world. And once again, we handle everything, making it more of an all-inclusive type of feel from beginning to end.
Okay, very good. And I appreciate it. We're going to maybe touch a little more on the food as we go. But so if we start, let's start from Denver. You said they stop in Loveland for the first night. So that's if my memory serves me, that's probably a fairly short journey.
For the first day going westbound, you're looking at boarding at 9 a.m. in the morning, having breakfast and lunch served to you on board, arriving in Denver at around arriving in Glenwood Springs at around 5 p.m. So nothing just to add to it. When it comes to luggage, we make this extremely seamless. We don't want you or your clients handling that luggage. We'll take your luggage from you at your hotel and put it on a truck the morning of. You don't have to really bring anything except your I would say your purse, handbag, IDs, medication. Keep it light and keep it simple. Your camera, your cell phone, things like that. And we handle, once again, everything for you. Before you even get off the train in Glenwood Springs, we're going to give you your hotel room key. You've already been checked into the hotel. You'll hop off the train, head over to your hotel and find your room. Inside your room, your luggage will be waiting for you next to your bed. In order to minimize the calories you're burning, we ask you to leave your luggage exactly how you found it next to your bed. You'll see it at the next destination. A true seamless transition. It's how we operate both in the US and Canada. And it's what makes people just love how they're just hands-free and hands-off. But the first day, a 9 to 5. On your second day, it's a little shorter. You're boarding at around 7 a.m., arriving at around 12 noon, having breakfast on board. If you were going eastbound, boarding at 2 p.m. in Moab, having dinner on board, arriving at around 7 p.m. in Glenwood Springs. And on your second day, mirroring what we just did on day one, boarding at 9 a.m., arriving at 5 p.m. with breakfast and lunch served on board.
Okay, so now, so that once they get to Moab, is all of the rest of it from Moab, is that bus tours to places out and around, or what's typically included in the packages?
Yeah, so we have a total of currently 9 different itineraries built. We're actually adding 2 more. I was just preview to these 2 actually just a couple of days ago. One's going to be a round trip Denver, Colorado, which is brand new. So there's some new itineraries still coming out. You have different options, being all customizable that we try to be. You could do the motor coach, which of course features a tour guide providing commentary of what's coming up ahead, what's outside your window. You have a drink station on board to stay well hydrated. Of course, a restroom, because when you drink too much, you know you got to do. And so motor coach is one option to go from point A to point B to point C, from hotel to different national parks and everything along your way. If you're in a smaller group, perhaps you do a group transportation, or you're doing a smaller group tour, we use Sprinter vans, Mercedes Sprinter vans, which are also have a tour guide on board. Or you could rent a car. We call these Discovery self-drives. Since COVID started, many more people have been wanting to limit the amount of crowds or congestion or people they are around. So we have now been setting a lot of new itineraries called Discovery self-drives, where we built in a full-size car rental, or if you want an SUV or a van, we can work with you on the different logistics or what you need space-wise. But rental cars is something else. And we still will include multiple touring as you go about your days. You're more now free to do things as long as you show up on the day at this national park at some point, because you got that day, you have the national park pass taken care of. You may have a tour guide waiting for you at a certain time to take you somewhere in that national park. But 3-4 day cars, full-size car rentals are something that we're building into the package. And you make your way as you like from Moab, stopping along national parks, going back to your hotels in the evening, and then get up to either Salt Lake City, Utah, or Las Vegas, or vice versa, going eastbound, starting and doing all that, and getting over to Moab.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very interesting. So now let's take a look at it from the people that have mobility challenges. Yeah. So how accessible are the train cars? Let's start with that.
Sure. So just first to understand where a demographic is, because that does also come into consideration. Our average age that we are seeing being booked right now is around 50 to 75, average age being 62, 82% married, 69% retired. And honestly, a majority of the folks that we have traveling with us do have mobility concerns. So we've been operating like this for many years. We fine-tuned our train cars and motor coaches to be fully accessible for even those who are wheelchair bound. We can remove a seat on the train and use their wheelchair as a seat in itself. We have elevators and lifts that take you from the ground to all of our train cars, and even on our 2-story cars, which we feature up in Canada, we have elevators and lifts on there. So if you are incapable of taking a single step, we're still able to offer our incredible trips and tours and sightseeing being wheelchair bound. So mobility is one of the last concerns we have. There are a few tours that make it a little bit more challenging, I should say, for some people who are wheelchair bound. For example, whitewater rafting could be tough. There's a few helicopter tours that if you can't get out of your wheelchair, we may have an issue in being able to get you on the helicopter, but there's always a workaway around. We have a full department that's able to answer many mobility questions and concerns for those who are curious, but we do have wheelchair accessibility space to move through. We can use a wheelchair as its seat if someone cannot get out of their wheelchair, they want to use that themselves. We really try to provide an answer for everyone who has any types of mobility concerns. Same with the motor coaches. Let us know at the time of booking, let Ken know, so we can be prepared on our end to have our accessibility of motor coaches or sprinter vans available so that we are able to take care of any concerns you have.
Okay, so now the one thing I see a lot, especially with people that may have just partial mobility, is they wind up using scooters. So how do you deal with the scooter on the train?
So I'm not sure if we have the ability to do the scooter. We may have a scooter waiting for you at the time of arrival at the train station when we get on or off, which is definitely easily set up. On the middle day, if you're going to Glenwood Springs for the night, we will have a motor coach waiting for you at that train station to take you to and from the hotel. But you may have your scooter waiting for you in Moab or Denver, Colorado at your final destination off the train to then take it from there, where a scooter is much more easier able to fit on a motor coach as opposed to the majority of the space that we offer on the train. So I know there is those exceptions we do, and I just believe, and please know that I can definitely get into more further details on the exact arrangements if we have someone who's really interested in doing that. I have people I can connect directly you to, and they will be able to make sure that we have everything set up and ready for them. I know that we have offered scooters, but they're not, I don't believe they're ever on the train. They are outside and they're waiting for you at the train stations upon arrival.
Okay. And that's a lot of times when people go on a cruise, that's what they do, is they rent a mobility device. So that's one of those things that would probably work. Okay. Based on what you just said, I'm assuming that you expect people to fly back either out of Salt Lake or out of Las Vegas as their return destinations, unless they would take a book round trip on the train.
Correct. Yes. So we just did announce a brand new round trip Denver itinerary. I personally haven't seen it. This was announced just 2 days ago. It's something that many people are asking for. There is that round trip that we're apparently going to be sharing publicly very soon. I haven't seen it yet. I just know that it's coming, which is great to share with everyone. But people are able to definitely book their airfare. We don't do anything with airfare, so that would be all with you, Ken, and that's why, if you will, I shared that at the beginning, that you can handle everything with your expertise and knowledge. But that's how it would perhaps be at this time. I do know that with this expansion, we are seeing a lot of opportunity open up, and there's, for example, Union Pacific, who is now a brand new partner of Rocky Mountaineer. Part of the train tracks are owned by Union Pacific. They would love to work with us even further and develop some sort of a loop that we're looking at doing in the next 2 or 3 years. So you can have multiple different train tracks, different routes, more days on the train. That's what we feature up in Canada. We have 3 different routes taking you to the Canadian Rockies. I do believe in the future we will be expanding, perhaps going to the coast of California, going up and down the coast, stopping in the Napa Wine Valley, perhaps touching into the Sawyer Glacier National Park. The future looks really bright just because we're so unique and different in how we operate and what we build together with our packages and such. As we continue to grow, the round trip and the other itineraries will continue to come out. For 2022, we hope to have our dates and rates out by April, May at the latest of this year for our US routes. And we are looking at a much fuller season going from April until November of 2022. But with the recent announcement from, I believe it was President Biden just yesterday, and this is what, March 3rd, so you can look back and see what I'm referencing here. He made a claim that by May we should have all US citizens vaccinated. That's an incredible big deal because we're not operating until mid-August. This pandemic in our country could be declared over by summer, which is what I'm optimistic and hopeful for, because I think that is really going to help bring people's apprehension to booking really just provide peace of mind moving forward. So the future is really looking bright, both for our country, given the circumstances that we're in, and just the way our company's growing so quickly.
Very nice. Okay, so let's talk about Canada. We don't want to miss that. So we have, you said out of Vancouver, right? Okay, so let's talk about the destinations that you have up there, and what's the same and what's different.
Yeah. First, we have 3 different train routes taking you from Vancouver across British Columbia into Alberta and over into the Canadian Rockies. Iconic places I mentioned before, like Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper. These are all connected by one of the most scenic highways in the world, the Columbia Icefield Parkway. Here you can do one-way trips, eastbound or westbound, or round trips. The best round trip that I can recommend is our Grand Rail Circle. It's 5 days on the Rocky Mountaineer train, 7 nights in the Canadian Rockies. It's a true check mark to experiencing this beautiful part of the world. If you're doing a one-way after the Canadian Rockies, you'll head as far east as Calgary and fly home from there. That's as far east as our trips are taking you to up in Canada. We've been doing this for now 31 years. We will be operating this year at the beginning due to the Canada restrictions. It may only be for Canadian citizens for April, May, perhaps June. We should be hearing from Canada any date now in March about their restrictions for May and June. Currently, they have set up a mandatory 14-day quarantine. Once again, I'm talking to you live on March 3rd. So just in case you're watching this at a later date, things may have changed by then. But I do believe things are looking a lot better. They're already starting their vaccinations. It's a little bit slower process than the US that we have here. But hopefully their goal is by September to have the entire country vaccinated. And that's, once again, optimism. Hopefully it will pick up sooner with the new Johnson & Johnson coming to the forefront, and hopefully Canada will be able to also partner with Johnson & Johnson to move the needle a little quicker on getting everyone vaccinated up north. But to continue on your second part of the question, what's different? We have a brand new class. There's two classes of services, I should say. In the US, I didn't mention this before, and I think it is relevant. There's another class of service called Silverleaf Plus. It's something we just brought out. It's given the fact that we are not able to use our Gold Leaf cars, which I'll talk to in just a second. Our Gold Leaf are 2-story cars up in Canada. There's a series of tunnels on these new train tracks in the US that don't allow the height of our Gold Leaf car to pass through. So we developed a class of service called Silverleaf Plus. And what that is you're going to have access to your own Silverleaf car, but now a whole lounge car. Our lounge car is completely being renovated as we speak. Hopefully it'll be done so we can share images with you, any clients of yours that upgrade to Silverleaf Plus by the end of March, I'm hoping for. So stay tuned for that. But you get a ton more space to move inside the lounge car, another outdoor veranda space to take advantage of. You have a mixologist on board crafting signature cocktails. You have more variety of meal options when it comes to your meals. So all this for just $395 per person. And that's an upgrade, giving you twice as much space to move around. And it's really going to make that experience that much more memorable and exciting. Switching back to Canada, our Gold Leaf car that I just referenced is our 2-story car, 360-degree dome windows on the top level. You have an outdoor veranda space here that holds comfortably 20 people, so 3 times the size larger than what we have on Silverleaf. We have a full dining area on your first level, Michelin-trained chefs cooking made-to-order food. Here, you get a lot more variety of options to choose from, I will say, around 2 to 3 appetizer options, 5 to 6 entree options, and multiple dessert options for breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner, pending your itinerary. And alcohol is included, 4 hosts. It's very similar, but a much bigger car, 2 stories. And currently right now, that's a big difference between Canada and the US route. Everything else is similar. This is our inaugural season for the US. So we are not, I guess we don't have as many hotel operations or tour operations currently in place right now. We will continue to add more as we stay in US and keep growing our route here. In Canada, been there for now 31 years. And there's a lot of different, we have over 100 different tours that we offer, 100 different hotels. So you have a lot more variety of options to choose from, which can really help work with your budget. Because the cool thing about Rocky Mountaineer is how customizable we are. So you can choose from 3-star properties to 5-diamond resorts. You can add nights, take away nights, add tours, take away tours, work with your budget. And that's the best thing about our kind of packages. It's not a one set for everyone. Some of the itineraries in the US at this time, given our brand new season and the fact that we don't have as many options, there's not that much customizability around it. We still have some for hotels. In Canada, it's a lot more customizable. It has a lot more options, which is really ideal for those, especially who may be working on a tighter budget or want to do something unique and different, go off the beaten path, visit and do things that are not typical. We take the majority of our itineraries and bundle the most popular, the most raved and reviewed tours that people love. But maybe a helicopter tour is something you're not interested in. You're scared of heights. So you can take the helicopter tour out, either remove it in its entirety, see the entire price drop, or of your itinerary, or replace that with other tours or other things, like I said, that would be more interest to you. So those are just some of the basic overgeneral differences between US and Canada.
Okay. And so I'm assuming on the Gold Leaf cars that you do have elevators for folks that have challenges. And
Exactly, yes. And I briefly mentioned that before, but for any mobility concerns, we do have elevators and lifts on all of our train cars, including the Gold Leaf car. So if a step is not something you want to do, or you want to minimize the calories you're burning, we got elevators. It makes it very simple and easy to handle those types of mobility concerns. Same thing is with dietary restrictions, something we haven't talked to yet. But for any clients out there that may have food allergies or need certain types of dietary restrictions when they eat, or only can be eating certain types of meals, let Ken know. The cool thing about Rocky Mountaineer, we have our chefs on board. People cooking the food right, literally a few feet away from where you're sitting. And if there's a severe peanut allergy, we're going to make sure there's no peanuts on that entire train car. And everyone will understand. It's the same thing when it happens when you fly or when you go on cruises and stuff. So we take allergies, food, dietary restrictions extremely serious, and just let us know what they are so we can be able to handle that for you.
okay. So are there other types of challenges that you can help passengers with other than mobility?
Yeah, I would say also with autism, we definitely have some hosts that are trained to work with autistic children or adults along their whole entire journey. Folks who are blind or deaf, we also have those who have those types of circumstances that we are able to provide animals on board for those who need, for someone who's deaf and may need a seeing eye dog. We even had, it was back in the, it was, what was it, 2013? We had a donkey, yeah, on our train, who someone needed a donkey that was trained and could get through, but it was a miniature donkey, not a big donkey, miniature donkey. Still, if they're trained and have the proper paperwork, and it's not someone who's just trying to take a farm animal or their lovely pet on just because they want to travel with them, it's for a significant purpose, we are able to and capable of doing that, which is really great. We can put down a fake bit of grass, if you will, on our outside of the train cars, so in case they have to use a restroom, they can go on there. Things like that we've been able to do for those types of clients with those types of requests and needs. And for those more further, I would say people with those types of concerns, please do let Ken know, and I will be able to connect Ken with someone who works in that department who will be able to provide further insight and information on all of these, so they feel, you know, comfortable knowing what's going to happen moving forward before they depart.
Okay. Listen, Steph, this has been amazing. I am looking forward to, I'm looking forward to things opening up and perhaps finding a way to get a ride on one of your trains and experience some of the things. For those that have never been to the Southwest, that area in Utah, you'll hear it referred to a lot of times as the Four Corners area, but you know, you get in the northern Arizona, southern Utah, you get edge into the southern Colorado and into northern New Mexico, and there, it's just amazing. If you want to see some sunsets, that's a place to do some sunset viewing. The Grand Canyon's out there. You've got just a ton of natural parks. There's not like there's any shortage of things to see and do in that area. But I do appreciate having you on. You've been a great guest. Thank you.
I can't thank you enough for allowing me to do this, and I appreciate everything that you do. Once again, reach out to Ken. He's one of the best, and I would love to get you on board our train so you can have that personal experience to share with your clients. So let's talk about that outside of this, and really just hope you all stay safe and healthy, and look forward to having you on board over the future. We're not going anywhere. We're only expanding. And once again, we will follow strict guidelines on whatever the CDC and WHO recommend moving forward. So please keep that in mind. And thank you all again for your time.